Hi, welcome to Fit Fed Feeling Good. I am Meg, your host, and this is the podcast where we talk all things fitness, food, and feeling good. Welcome. Happy Wednesday. Happy to have you along for this quick conversation. Today is a fitness episode. I'm excited about it. We're going to briefly talk about modifications. Now, modifications seem pretty straightforward. What is a modification? So let's talk about just a simple walk. If we are walking and we need to modify it, we could just maybe march in place. That is just one modification. We're not going to go into progressions about making things a little more challenging or difficult, but we want to talk about when we're watching a video, when we are doing our own workout with some ideas we have in mind, and maybe one of the moves is a little difficult, or you're deciding, that doesn't feel great. How can we modify it where you're still moving? Maybe you're still continuing that session to get in the minutes of the workout, but you are going to adjust some of the moves that you are exploring. So just a few examples I want to go through. Sometimes our videos that we're watching and we're really inspired, which is amazing. There's so much wonderful workouts that are available pretty much for free that you can find a lot of places, a lot of the socials, YouTube, Instagram, and so much more. But I'm going to use the example of a burpee. The burpee, a lot of people, is just that full body workout. You have strength, you have endurance, you have cardio, all in it. But also there is mobility, there's some stability. So a lot is all wrapped up in a burpee. To break a burpee down, because if you're watching the video and they're just doing that end result burpee, but you're thinking, I'm not up for burpees today, or my body doesn't want to get down on the floor, but you don't want to be discouraged. You don't want to stop the workout because you think, well, they're doing it. I want to be doing something. I always say, well, what can you do to stay maybe with their timing or slow it down? Maybe you want to just think about the structure of what a burpee is. We have some knee movement, some hip movement. So maybe you stay standing and instead of jumping out, you do a soft air squat. And then instead of extending the legs, maybe you do alternate knee lifts. And then maybe you do alternating arm raises up to move that shoulder. So you can still stay standing. You can still do what you feel as a burpee. I feel the spectrum of a burpee can be probably 100 different things. You can stand and march in place during that whole time someone else is doing a burpee. You could do alternating knees. You could then add in a square air squat. You can then add in some arm movements. You can maybe walk a burpee out instead of jump a burpee out, being gentle on the joints if you're avoiding any sort of jumping. So the burpee is just one example of how many modifications you can actually give it that supports how your body is moving at that time. Maybe you'd always do burpees and they feel great, but maybe you woke up a little extra tired because you gardened all weekend. I think we need to also take in to mind what we're doing the days prior to the work we're doing. If you're doing burpees every day, they're going to get tiring. They're going to get exhausting. You're going to feel it in your joints and muscles from that overuse. So it's really a good practice to start thinking about, gosh, I was just weed eating and pulling weeds because now we're in spring and we're doing a lot of yard work that maybe I want to do a gentle recovery work. So that's another side episode, but this is just about modifications. I was working with a client this morning and we were doing some gentle tricep work, and we started with a mini band, those small circular mini bands, because I wanted her to keep her shoulder relaxed and down. And we were just anchoring that mini band against our chest and pressing down on that mini band. Yes, we needed to then watch our wrist movement, but we should be doing that anyway if we're holding a handled band or free weights or even maybe a machine that you're doing those triceps with. So when we think about triceps, you can go sit at a machine and do those press downs with the machine. You can do overhead kicks, with the free weight, or kickbacks if you're hinged over. A lot of modifications you can do, but I started with that simplest, I think. Not simplest, because a mini band does have quite a bit of resistance, but then we moved to the long band overhead, but then we're asking your shoulder to stabilize. So we want to watch for those modifications to make sure we're not compensating in another area. If we're shrugging those shoulders, we may end up with a little bit of tension through the neck, and we want to keep that relaxed. So triceps, you could do tricep dips, but again, you have to make sure those shoulders are nice and relaxed, even though tricep dips are a progression, or you can even make the tricep dips a progression. If you have your feet right under those knees, you've got a lot more support. But if you walk those feet out, you're going to have a little more challenging move with that. And then I want to just talk about some modifications for some cardio moves. Old time cardio, let's think of our favorite grapevine. Oh, the grapevine is so fun. So if you're doing grapevine, we're crossing our foot over foot. So it's step, cross, step, tap, step, cross, step, tap. Maybe you feel a little unstable in your balance, and we don't want to trip over our feet, right? Well, you can step together, just a 2-side step move to modify it. If you're opening those feet really wide, you might be stressing those hips. So maybe another modification to bring it down even further is just to keep those steps really nice and narrow. And of course, you can always come back to a simple march in place. March in place is always a great base move to come back to. Just reassess, reset your body into where you would be feeling the best. Then you can make the choice of what you're watching on your screen, whether they're doing a grapevine or a shuffle, or maybe I call it a Heisman, where you just kind of do a really quick shuffle and lift one knee on the inside. But if they're doing a move, we need to, if a modification's not given, what can we do? Just go back to that march and think, oh, it looks like they're moving side to side. I'm just going to carry my body side to side, bring it down a little bit, and then maybe see if you can keep going into the move that you are being watched. These are just some ideas of keeping yourself motivated and inspired to do the videos you're seeing, because they are fun. And usually the person is really peppy and they want to inspire you, which is so great. All of that's wonderful. Maybe they're giving you some fun quotes or there's some fun music in the background. But I want you to then just be aware of being mindful of what you've done maybe a day or 2 or 3 before this video. And then also being aware of how your body is feeling as it's moving through those moves, and look for a way to modify it or go back to that march, or maybe skip that video entirely if it's not for you, which, you know what, you can preview them, you can scan through them and just decide if it's something you want to try. You can look for titles that have terms like beginner friendly, intermediate, or advanced only, and decide where you are at that time. I mean, some days we're going to have a lot more energy than we do others. So be mindful of when you're picking your workout. But that's what I wanted to talk about today. Of course, I'm not a doctor or a counselor. Please always listen to your physician directives before you begin any exercise routine. I want you feeling fit, fed, feeling good. Thanks for joining me, and seek professional care if you need. Thanks. Bye-bye.